Welcome back to an episode of Keep Austin Queird. My name is Sky, and this is a podcast where we connect through colorful conversations. And today I have Dr. Syd Young, the owner of Out Wellness right here in Austin, Texas, a space that allows you to come as you are to achieve your health and wellness goals. Welcome.
I'm super happy to be here. Thanks for chatting.
Oh, yes. I mean, I got to let you know, I was so excited to have you because, you know, I'm season 2 into this. And you are the first person to reach out to me and say, can I be on your podcast? So it just meant the world to me. I know we were had a schedule. I wasn't feeling well and had to reschedule, but I was really, really looking forward to it. And when you DM'd me that, it just really brightened my day and made me feel special. And it gave me, you know, the validation as well as the continued encouragement to keep doing what I'm doing and the kind of like the reason for the podcast. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much. I was like jumping up and down and telling Jason in the living room, I think on a Sunday morning. So that's awesome because we haven't met before.
Yeah, we had never met, and I am a cold DMer. Like, ooh. I see something that I want to do, and I'm like, I'm going to just go for it. So I'm glad to know that people aren't always annoyed by it.
No.
So, yeah.
Honestly, I am that way in work-wise. Mm-hmm. I think I've reached out to 2 or 3, like straight to the source, the CEOs, mm-hmm. and had relationships and got job offers with them. So I think that if anybody's ever worried or in doubt of that, do it.
Yeah,
just do it, right?
Yeah. Now we're here talking, so yeah. It's like awesome.
What other successes have you had from doing that?
A lot of, we do a lot of workshops at Out Wellness. And so, you know, like I'll see somebody, like we had a tarot reader and that I just like saw on Instagram tarot. And I just was like, hi, this looks really cool. I want you to do tarot. And they were like, of course I want to do tarot with you. And so we built a lot of relationships like that. Also for like, we have our 1-year anniversary party next weekend. And, honestly, I cold DM'd all of the folks who are now like sponsoring the event. And so, really just like anytime I see something that I want to do, I'm just like,
you go for it.
Yeah. I'm just like, hey, this is who we are. This is what we do. You want to be a part of it?
Yeah. And take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly.
Either you're in or you're out.
Exactly.
No hard feelings.
Exactly.
Well, I, again, think that is just awesome what you're doing and just keep doing it. So, all right. Well, on Keeping Austin Queird, I like to speak about how you identify. It's just important because, again, the moral of my podcast is to, although we have different sexual orientations and how we present ourselves, at the end of the day, we're still walking on the same planet, going through the same experiences, and through conversation, we realize that we're connected in more ways than one. So if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, totally. My name is Syd. I use they, them pronouns. In my gender, I am somewhere on the trans spectrum. So trans, non-binary, you know,
yeah.
It depends on the day, maybe.
I love it.
And I define my sexuality as queer. I kind of define my whole queerness as queer.
You're a queer, queer bubble. You were in the queer.
I'm the queer.
You're the queer.
I'm the queer.
We're like, okay, do I have that queer friend or who is queer and what it is? It's you.
It's me. Yeah,
I love that.
Me.
I love that. And you know, the other thing about that too, and again, thanks for sharing that, is they also think that the gays know the lesbians and the lesbians know the trans and the trans know the queers. And we honestly, it's not like that. I think, you know, unless you obviously immerse yourself into that and you become educated and informed. And obviously that's important and you should do that, but not everybody does. And so having, you know, like having an understanding and meeting people like that to add to your, like, okay, now I met this person and they opened my eyes to this, I think is just special, and it makes a difference, you know?
Totally. Humanizes the experience a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a hard time owning any of that or saying any of that? I'm sure at some point we all do, right? In our queer community, but.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting. So I own Out Wellness. We're a queer and trans space. You know, people are using different pronouns and different names weekly. And it's a very, very safe space, and I'm very privileged in that. And even still, like sometimes talking about my gender stuff can feel really hard. Like I had asked a couple of people that I love and that I'm very close to like use he, him pronouns just to like kind of test it out and see what I thought. And it wasn't like I wasn't like debuting it. I just was like, I don't know. I kind of want to see what this feels
Why
like.
not?
Yeah,
With
exactly.
your safe space, you're with friends. Let's see it out.
Exactly.
I think that's great.
And I noticed, and still like to right now, this day, I haven't been able to. So at the beginning of all of our group workouts, we introduce ourselves. So we'll do like name, pronouns, and we'll have some kind of prompt like what brought you joy this week, or, you know, like something like that. And I never introed myself using those pronouns.
Okay.
Which I just find interesting because I'm in like the safest of safe spaces.
Yeah.
Where I am, like where I would try that out.
Yeah.
And I still
see
it's very scary and very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I do have trouble with it still. I think the gender stuff is harder for me to talk about because especially outside of my work, because I feel like people understand it less.
Yeah.
I came out as a lesbian when
Which is kind of it's layers, right?
Exactly.
We go through the layers. And so that's one that is now more like, I guess, easier to say and easier to come out with. And people are, you know, it's
super true. And, you know, like I came out as a lesbian at 18 and I had just gone to college, and
good for you.
Thank you. College was great. And, you know, people were like, okay, that's fine.
And
yeah, like I was, I don't know, a jock, and people kind of were like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Like whatever. And so, and people have largely been like that about my gender experience too, but I think they have a lot better understanding of what a lesbian is and what it is not. And coming into gender, and even the way I explained my gender to you, I was like, I don't know, trans, non-binary, somewhere, something. I don't really know.
Yeah.
And so I find that it's sometimes hard to talk about because people like want a definitive answer, and I can't always give that.
And you don't have to.
Yeah.
And you don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they think, you know, in sometimes, I guess maybe in the old days, like all lesbians are butch and all lesbians, you know, kind of look like a boy. It doesn't mean that they're trans, doesn't mean that they're there, but also, or if they are, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's okay. I mean, I have so many lesbian friends that are femme, and that's okay. And then that are more on the masculine side, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, but it doesn't necessarily equal like what you think. It could be queer.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, on Keeping Austin Queird, I like to play a little bit more of a get to know you better questions before we go into your business, who you are. And so it's either I do a 3-card pull on either never have I ever or let's get deep or deeper. So your choice. They're all at random.
Let's do deep and deeper. I do not want to get into never have I ever in this
on this podcast. And you're like, I don't know what it will pull. All right. Well, I guess this would be a partner question.
Okay.
Are you more touchier, or is your partner?
Interesting. It's definitely not me. It's definitely
and
not
you know
me.
that for certain.
I do. Yeah. It's like I enjoy physical touch, and I enjoy when it's happening, whether that's like cuddling or like whatever, holding hands or whatever.
Yeah.
I almost never initiate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not the love language you're giving.
It is not.
Okay.
It is not. So for anybody out there who is thinking about dating me, don't expect me to hold your hand.
Hey, some people, my husband definitely loves physical touch is his love language. I am definitely a physical toucher. I would say it's harder for me to do. I am not a PDA kind of person at all, although it wouldn't stop me. I'm just, I don't know. It's just, I kind of put my sexy time in my sexy time box, and then that, just everything else outside of it. So
it's also hard, right? Like we're queer people in Texas, and they're in a special session right now doing all of these things that affect queer lives. And so like, I don't know that I like outwardly think about this often, but certainly there's a safety component in some aspects, especially as we go outside of Austin. And so, you know, I think that's at least like a layer of it.
Yeah.
But
for me too. Honestly.
Yeah. I'm not a super PDA person either. But
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to go deeper?
Yeah, we can go deeper. That one was pretty okay.
What is the grossest thing your partner has seen you do?
Oh my God.
That comes to your mind.
I mean, there are so many things. I mean,
are you just
I'm like, what should I say on this podcast?
Are you just like
I mean, God, what is the grossest thing my partner has ever seen me do? Okay. So when I throw up.
Okay. Are you Emily Rose, projectile vomiting, or you? What?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
I could be like dry heaving, like at any form, anywhere in the process of throwing up. I also fully pee my pants.
Oh, okay.
So
it's an out and a out.
It's out.
It's all the way out.
Yeah. And so
I would die.
Yeah.
I would cry. I would probably have more luck shitting myself.
Yeah, it's
puking than peeing. But
it's horrible. So I would say probably by far that's the grossest thing. It's like, because then I'm like dirty on all parts of my body and also sick. Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm not okay.
I definitely am not a pretty thrower upper. I don't know who. I think that some people kind of like, and I'm like, you threw up? I literally sound like I don't even know. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I can't even listen to people throwing up. I'm so sensitive on that.
Are you, you're, what do they call those? A
like
sympathy puker.
If someone like spits weirdly, I could like gag. Yeah, I know.
Got it. Okay. Noted.
Right.
Well, sorry to tell you that story.
Oh, no, you're fine. Thank you for being honest.
Yeah, totally.
All right, one more. Deep or deeper?
Dealer's choice.
All right, let's just go with this one. It is deeper.
Okay.
Is there anything your parents do or have done that you don't agree with?
Oh, definitely. And they know me and my parents do therapy together sometimes.
So they already know.
I mean, yeah, I think they're pretty well aware.
You've discussed it.
I want to start out by saying that I have the best, most supportive parents. They live right down the road from me. They frequent Out Wellness.
Okay.
So they have done things wrong, and I will share. But I think an important disclaimer is that they are wonderful.
Because as you know, as a queer person, not the relationships with parents are all different, of course. And we would say in the most cases, not in the best space for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy that you have that.
Yeah, I have the best, most supportive family, truly. Like, I really feel so lucky. And of course, I have chosen family as well, but my family of origin is wonderful. And I actually am trying to think, what came to mind for me actually isn't around my queerness. They've been so great about my queerness that like, I don't have anything.
It's other stuff.
But so I am a bigger bodied person, and that has like varied throughout my life in terms of like how big or how small, I guess in quotation marks, I've been. And my whole life up until probably I went to college, and then my college coach took that over. I just was like on constant diets and constant all these things. And like, you know, my parents were getting this information, right? Like I was going to the doctor, and the doctor was like, Syd's unhealthy. And then I was getting recruited by college coaches, and they were like, we're not going to give you a scholarship because you're fat. So like, it wasn't my parents themselves. Like, you know, they were getting information from outside places. But I mean, God, growing up, I was on every diet, like Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and like that. I was just telling somebody the other day, I don't know if it has a name, but it's like, you know, you have like lemon and maple syrup and whatever.
Like the cayenne pepper, like the drinks.
And I would do that every semester before I went back to college. I would do that. So I would like lose weight. Just like
I think
super,
so
super
many
quick.
people have done all these things of
Yeah.
what you're doing, and what I think not every gay guy, but what gay guy is not trying to look skinny and like
Yeah,
fit, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I hear you.
And so I would say that's the biggest hurdle that me and my parents have had to overcome is like how we talk about our bodies, how we talk about food, how they view themselves as well. Because
Are they fit? And
they are. And my mom is, I hope you're listening, Mom. My mom is 5'3" and like small. Like just globally small.
Okay.
And she constantly is like, oh my God, I'm humongous and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I'm like 4 sizes bigger than her or, whatever.
Yeah.
So I have 2 siblings and me and my middle sibling all the time. We're like, you can't say that because if you're fat, like
I'm
what are
basically
we?
King Kong.
Right, exactly. So it's been a lot of work around that as well. But I will say like, they are also super receptive to feedback, even in podcast form.
Okay.
So they're wonderful, but I would say that was the biggest hurdle, especially growing up, was just like, like restricting a lot and being on a lot of diets. And like, if I even when I was at my smallest, I wasn't even close to small enough and all of these things. And so just kind of overcoming that.
My mom was not like that, but my dad was. And which was crazy is because he was a bigger guy himself throughout majority of my life, but he always had that like critiquing you type of thing on your body and this, that, and the other. So I hear you.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're receptive and they take it and they move on.
It's great. Yeah, it's great.
So let's get into story time to get used to know you a little bit better as well as your business. So I want to string 2 things apart. First of all, I want to say great location right off of South Congress and Ben White. So it's just like, I think South Austin to me is like, I always say like real Austin. Anything north of downtown, I get it. It's still Austin and I love it and no shade and anything like that. But it's just a different vibe, different energy. And so you're right to me in the heart of Austin in that aspect. So great location.
Thank you.
And, before we start, so tell me like where you grew up and, are you an Austinite? How long have you lived here?
Yeah, I am an Austinite.
Wow. So you're a unicorn.
I'm a unicorn. Yeah. So I grew up here and then I left for college and grad school and then I came back. So I was gone for 7 years while I was in school. And then I immediately came back. So yeah, I went to Westlake High School.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It was fine.
And just it was fine.
It was fine.
Now you said, you mentioned sports.
Oh yeah, I did.
So what were you getting scholarships for?
I played tennis.
Okay.
Yeah. So I played tennis.
Love tennis.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I could talk a lot about my experience, especially in college tennis, but it's a very, in my experience, like
I'd be interested to know all this.
Cis-het, skinny girl vibe.
Clearly.
And I'm none of those. So it was a little bit of an interesting experience, like being in that space, being who I am versus like who some of my teammates were.
I can't even imagine.
But it's funny now because, so like I grew up playing tennis in Austin before I went to college. And I mean, like 3 people that I know are trans and another 4 of us are lesbians. And like, so I'm just like finding all of these pockets of queers and I'm like,
the whole time.
why didn't we like band together? Like what were we doing? So
like
there's
we could have been friends and deeper friends.
Literally. Yeah. So my experience with like me being in tennis certainly isn't how I experience the tennis world now, but at the time it felt very that way.
And you said you don't play.
I don't.
Is there a specific reason?
I was really burnt out. So
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So I played my 4 years. Yeah. And then I was like, I'm never going to play again. And then I went straight to grad school and they were like, oh, we need a grad assistant for grad school. So then I went back and started playing with the people on the team there while I was in grad school, which was actually super fun. And then I came back here. And the thing is that all of the people here are people who I have historically been very competitive with. Even if we're like my best friend lives here and we grew up playing tennis together and we even still are kind of like, should we like do this with each other. Like this feels like it could end really badly.
I'd say it's so different at, my age is 44 and I've never played in college, but it's different.
Yeah,
I will say that.
fair.
So maybe give it a shot.
I am open to giving it a shot. I've done paddle. I've done pickleball.
Okay, so you've done Austin's huge in
racket.
pickleball.
Yeah, like I've done the racket sport thing, which feels like it can be a little bit more social because I can go play with my friends who have like never played racket sports and they can pick it up versus tennis. Like you gotta work at it a little bit. Like you can't just like pick it up. Yeah. So those feel a little bit more like I can go out and be social. Yeah, you're not the first person to tell me to pick tennis back up. I'm not.
I think you should. It's definitely different. It's still, I think, individual. I like to hit around doubles here and there, but I like it as one-on-one. I just think, I don't know. It's different than you have played, I think, in college and high school and et cetera. I've met so many wonderful people throughout it. And it's just another way of staying fit and staying active and getting out there. Although this Texas heat will whip your ass.
Yeah,
so
I'm not
it's
doing
very
it right
limited,
now.
very limited. And I only do it in the mornings.
Yeah.
But are you a fan of pickleball?
I am. I'm a fan of it as a hobby.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it as a professional sport. I think that's a little bit insane. But I am a fan of it. I wish courts were cheaper and easier to come by, but it feels like a really nice way. Like we've done some queer pickleball leagues with some friends and it's just like a fun way for us to be like, hey, our lives are crazy, but every Tuesday night we're going to go play pickleball for an hour.
Yeah.
So we've done some things like that have been really fun. So yeah,
cool.
I'm dabbling, let's say. I'm dabbling.
Now I said Dr. Syd Young.
Yeah,
so you are a physical therapist.
Yeah, I am.
Congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
is huge,
Thank
huge,
you.
huge. A lot of school.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. So, I mean, like I mentioned before we got on the podcast, I'm a healthcare recruiter. I've been in the healthcare staffing space for over a decade and staffed allied and nursing and all sorts of stuff. And, talking to a PT or an OT, they had much more of a professional communication, I would say, because it's, you went to, some people don't know that you go to school for a long time and get this, degree.
Yeah, we get our bachelor's and then we do 3 extra years of school. And then we also have to do research in that time to get our doctorate level degree. So it's not a full dissertation because they call it like a working doctorate versus a PhD. So they're a little bit different.
Right.
But we are all required to do some level of research. So we have to come up with the study, do the study, go over the results, and then try to publish before we graduate.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what got you on that path? What was your inspiration to becoming a physical therapist?
It's really interesting. I was an athlete my whole life. And so I was really exposed to that kind of throughout my whole life. And so I went into college being like, I know I want to do something in the health field. I don't know exactly what. So I was actually over this way. I was in Buda, I think. And we had a connection to a doctor who was like, you can shadow me because to go into any kind of health related field, you need to shadow a ton of people in a ton of hours. So I was like, this is great. Like I'll be in the hospital, whatever. So I went and at the last minute, he was like, something came up. You can't come. So he was like, you can just go down to PT. So I ended up down at the PT department that day. And I think you'll hear this a lot, but it's true. We just get a lot more time. So like it was really noticeable how much time we got with patients when I was seeing the doctor versus how much time we got with the patients when I was with the PTs. And granted, there are a lot of issues with that we don't have to get into, but it felt more meaningful. I won't lie. Also, I didn't have to take organic chemistry, which was a big win for my GPA. But yeah, so that's really kind of where it started, was just, being exposed to it. And then also doing a bunch of shadowing hours in a bunch of different settings. And
to
just
have you click into it and say, you know what, this feels right. It feels like an alignment. I'm loving this and I want to go for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you outpatient or inpatient majority?
I was an outpatient majority. So when I was in college, my junior and senior year, I actually worked at a PT clinic as a tech. So like just as a person who was like wiping things down and, kind of like doing the admin type stuff. And they gave me hours for all of my work. So not only did I get paid, but I also got my hours, which was crazy and like kind of doesn't happen. Because people volunteer to observe for free and like still do all the cleaning and all the things. So it was majority outpatient just because that's where I was working. But you know, to get into PT school, we have to do a bunch. So I was inpatient. I was in acute care. I done a little bit of it all. Also in PT school, we get a lot of exposure to all of the different settings. But outpatient, in my opinion, is the best. Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving me a little bit of your background of your career, because then it ties into your business, Out Wellness. So let's talk about that. Sure. How did you come to starting your own business, being the way that it is, and holding this space for so many different people, tying in your physical therapy to a wellness space? That's, you know, I looked it up, of course. It's like a gym. It's such a beautiful space.
Thank you.
Your Instagram, your marketing, all of that is like big thumbs up, honestly.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the marriage of those.
Yeah, you know, it was a little bit of a long journey, but so I graduated PT school in 2020, right as COVID was starting. Yeah. So like
Thank God you did that. I mean,
I know. And like our school got cut short because of the pandemic, and it was like kind of a whole thing. So right out of grad school, I worked at an outpatient, they call it a sports clinic, a pretty typical place where like, you're like, I throw out my back, I'm going to go to PT, you know, it's that kind of place. And I did a residency and a fellowship there. So I did some post-grad education there. And I got exposure to a lot of things. Like I was able to observe surgeries, and I was able to observe other PTs who are incredible at their jobs, like doing all these things. So I got exposure to a lot of different things during those 2 years, which was awesome. But like, so I worked kind of right on campus. I was on the corner of North Lamar and West 38th.
Ooh, yeah.
So we saw a lot of students, which meant that we saw a pretty diverse population. And I noticed time and time again, queer people, people of color, people with disabilities, pretty Spanish speakers. We saw a lot of Spanish speakers just get treated differently. Like I just saw it time and time again. And so when I was done with my fellowship,
when they don't say it doesn't happen, it happens.
No, it happens constantly. I mean, to the point where like I was the Spanish speaking PT on staff, and I am somewhat conversational in Spanish, but I am certainly not fluent, and certainly should not have been the Spanish speaking PT medically, on staff. Right. So I got to the end of my fellowship. I was really burnt out. We were seeing so many people, and so I just was like, I need a change, period. And then I was like, well, what if the change was like kind of doing my own thing? And so I'm really lucky. My dad is an entrepreneur, and I was like super scared, and I was like, I'm probably not going to do it. It's dumb, like whatever. And my dad,
are you coming to him with like a Shark Tank PowerPoint presentation of like, here's what I want to do?
I came to him with the opposite. I was like, you should talk me out of this. Like you should. Yeah. I was like, this is silly. It's never going to work. And so at the time I was building a garage gym for myself. So I was like putting in all the stuff for a garage gym, and he was like, so you have no overhead. You should treat out of your garage gym. And then he says to me, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like, what's your worst case scenario? And I was like, well, I would fail. Like, that's the worst case scenario, is I fail.
Says every entrepreneur.
Yeah. And he said to me, I'll never forget. He said to me, so then you'll go out and you'll find another PT job, and you'll probably make more money than what you're making at this current job. And like, is that your worst case scenario? That's the worst thing that could happen to you. And I was like, oh, you're so right. Like, if that's the worst thing. You don't
die.
Yeah, exactly.
Just, you know?
So I put in my notice pretty much right after that, honestly.
Good job, Dad.
Yeah, my dad's the best. And so for 3 years, I worked out of my garage gym. We held weekly community workouts. We held weekly Transmask workouts in my driveway. Wow. Sunday mornings, the Transmask showed up day or night. Not day or night. They did not show up day or night. They showed up at 9 a.m. on Sundays. Yeah. But rain or shine, didn't matter the weather, didn't matter how hot it was. They were always there for 3 years.
Wow. 3 years in the garage.
3 years in the garage. And
unbelievable.
So, it was crazy. And we held like monthly community workouts. We held stuff in my house a lot.
So something was there.
And so we really grew out of it probably in like a year and a half, to be honest with you. But commercial real estate is a nightmare. Especially in Austin. So we found the space, like you said, our location is incredible. And we've been there just about a year. And the square footage has given us the opportunity to do so many more cool things. Like, you know, we run queer sex ed workshops once a month. We run financial literacy, we run self-defense. Yesterday we did a skill share. People wanted to learn how to cut their t-shirts to make them either like crop tops or like take off the sleeves or like whatever.
There's an art to that.
There's an art to it. I learned. So like, 2 people in our community just were like, we do this all the time. We're happy to share it. And people just showed up and learned from each other for an hour and a half. And so it's just given us the opportunity to build community in so much more of a meaningful way, because the community has access. And we have a co-working space. We have a little beanbag room. So like folks just kind of like hang out.
It's not just a gym.
Yeah. And we're really passionate about it not just being a gym. We're really passionate about holistic wellness. And for us, holistic wellness is not just body wellness. So like, so like you hear about holistic wellness and they're like, go get the IV and the compression. And I'm like, that's all great. But when we talk about holistic wellness, we're talking about full person wellness. And so queer sex ed is a really important one for us because like some of us don't even get sex ed, period. Right. And nevertheless, talking about like dating while trans. And so like that financial literacy, especially like you mentioned at the beginning, a lot of us don't have access to our family of origin. And so that's where that knowledge gets passed down over time. And so a lot of us don't have that. So we have a queer financial planner come in quarterly and just be like, here's how you should be paying off your debt. And, just like,
man, this is mind blowing.
Yeah. And so, like we think about wellness and we think about it. Like, obviously I'm a physical therapist. So like my specialty is body wellness. But every other workshop that we run is also for wellness, I would say. Mm-hmm. And the coolest part about our workshops is that they're all run by people in our community. So like queer sex ed is just a person in our community who was like, hey, I work for this org that runs queer sex ed workshops. I would love to run it at Wellness. And so we get to run a lot of them at no cost because the community just
wants to give back and help.
Yeah.
Man, this to me is just giving me goosebumps because I just know for certain that like no one helped me. I had parents, a challenging relationship with my dad majority of the time. And then as he got sick, my mom was kind of there and she didn't really know anything about any of that. So like to know about I wish I had someone to tell me what debt looked like and how to manage your finances, or when it came time for me to purchase a home. I've never had anybody do that in my family, or what that entails and how does that work. Even like gay sex, like STDs and what that is and what it looks like and what it means and where to go and what to do. Like there's so many levels to that outside of just like being queer and pride and going to a pride event. Totally. It's like lifestyles that we have to understand to progress moving forward in our lives individually or even with a partner, in a lot of that, what do you got? Google and YouTube, which are great, but sometimes it's like you want to hear it in person. You want to receive that information from someone who is in your community and understands where you're at and the, what they're talking about, so wow.
And like, you want it to be a little bit personalized, right? So now like these people become resources in our community, and of course that there are boundaries in place, right? But like, for example, the person who runs our queer sex ed workshop, like we had a person who had a scare and they were really worried and like they didn't know what to do and should they go to the emergency room or like whatever. And they were able to just call the person that runs this for us, and they were able to kind of talk this person through this very specific situation. So while like some of this stuff is good, like we have relationships with these people where they're like, hey, call us in an emergency, call us if you don't know what to do. Like we talk a lot about mutual aid too. And like, this is a form of mutual aid where people are like, this is my job. This is what I do. I'm happy to have a 5-minute phone call with you to like talk about this. And so I think that's really valuable too, is like people being like, this is my skill. This is what I'm going to contribute. And then other people just giving back their skill. And then we create this kind of symbiotic relationship between everybody.
Yeah. I can't even, I'm just thinking to myself, like in those moments of stress and anxiety or depression, which a lot of those topics can easily pull you into if you're not equipped or maybe a stronger person than you could be. And I have no doubt that at some point you're changing people's lives and also preventing suicide in some capacity, because you're empowering people to grow and be a better version of themselves, and to have a reliable place that provides that access without feeling, weird about it, I think is going to, pay it forwards in so many ways.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we know suicidality in the queer and trans community is significantly higher than in our non-queer and trans counterparts. So we're definitely doing our part because we know it's an epidemic.
Well, speaking of not suicide or anything like that.
I was like, oh God, where is that going?
Your business received Austin's 2024 business, LGBTQ plus business of the year.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. So that's huge. How did that happen?
I have no idea.
Okay.
If I'm being
Somebody
totally
probably
honest
nominated
with
you.
Yeah, I think so. So we're a member of the LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce. We have been.
Okay.
It's like one of the first things I did when we opened. And the folks over there are great. I have really nice relationships with them. And I really think it's the bigger space that did it, I think it gave us just more exposure. The Chronicle is more interested in us now, and like some other news outlets as well. And I think it legitimizes what we've been doing for a long time because we're able to do it on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
And so I think that just gave us maybe some legitimacy that we've been looking for. But I really don't know outside of that how it actually happened.
Yeah.
But it was very cool. So many people that I know and loved were there. They just happened to be there. So it was really cool to like celebrate in community too, because, I get to do all this fun stuff like going on podcasts and winning awards and whatever, but like this doesn't exist without our community.
Absolutely.
And so it was really meaningful that like so many folks were there that I got to be like, this is for all of us. And like, it's not like personally me. So it felt really cool.
Oh, I can't even imagine that feeling. And almost like you haven't even you're about to hit your 1 year in that space.
Yeah.
So to have that is huge.
Yeah.
So your 1 year is this Saturday, August 16th.
Yeah.
That is major. Again, congrats.
Thank you.
What's been your journey to get here? After I know entrepreneur myself, I get it. I hear you. I see you, but like, bumps, bruises. How'd you get,
I think, being trained as a healthcare worker, there were a lot of bumps and bruises and things I didn't do well because I don't really know anything about business, which is maybe a pro and a con, depending on how you look at it. I think the biggest thing and I'm still really learning,
you'll always be learning.
Is hiring and firing. That's been challenging for me. I am very type A and I very much like things the way that I like them, although I come across very casual, laid back and whatever. And so I think that juxtaposition has been hard because I say like, I'm very type A, but then I wear sweatpants to work or whatever else. And so that has been a really hard thing that I'm learning a lot about. I will say I've had a dumb amount of help throughout this whole thing. Like we have folks in our community who are writing and posting our newsletters and doing our marketing and doing all types of different things for us, which takes a huge load off. And they also help with some of this stuff. Like in writing standard operating procedures. I had never heard of that before.
SOPs
for short. Sure. Yeah, I know that now. So there are a lot of people who just like believe in our mission and who are willing to kind of put
Support
these things
you.
in place. And we would not be operational if it wasn't for them. So for sure, the community has stepped up and saw all of the places that I am incompetent and have kind of filled in those blanks.
Well, that's the biggest thing I'd say that I'm glad you now know or have learned or whatever, is that as an entrepreneur, I remember watching before I started my business, and, you know, I've done so many things, that just do what you're good at, you know, doing, and find the right people to support you where you're not.
Yeah.
And that is huge.
Absolutely. It's been wonderful. And I think that's the way you build meaningful community too. Like there's a version where, you know, I am just like this ambiguous person and I run the events and whatever. But I think like being vulnerable and allowing people to step in and help has actually brought people closer and brought the community in a little bit more. So that's also been really cool. You know, of course there are boundaries there, and we're not just like randomly asking people for help, but when it's appropriate,
it's professional.
Yeah, exactly. But when it's appropriate, asking people for help has felt really meaningful on both sides, I think.
Yeah. Well, again, community, that makes them feel like they have a piece of it. It's your business, you're running it, and you're just like not willy-nilly about it. You're professional about it, but that's the important part. They feel like they are bought into what's, you know, your goal as well.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
what are you guys doing to celebrate that day specifically? Anything?
Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah, we're running an event. I actually took this from a place in Oakland that's been doing it for a few years now, at least. I don't know exactly how many off the top of my head. But it's called a deadlift and drag event. So we are running a deadlift competition. A deadlift is a lift, so you lift a lot of weight, and if you beat yourself, so if you lift more than you ever have before, you get a medal with my face on it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That has been a big selling point for a lot of people. And then in between the lifts, in between some of the lifts, there will be drag performances, and then the drag performers are also
going to do
lifting.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
They
good
are.
thing they got a PT on deck.
That's it. Yes. I will say it's a good thing I'm friends with them. I don't know that they would just be willy-nilly doing this. But you know, like
Are they doing a death drop after they do the deadlift?
Well, they better be. And if they're listening, they better be.
Yes,
they know who they
death
are.
drop, please.
But like, you know, I think a deadlift is really cool because you can lift really heavy.
That's the one where you're kind of rolling it off your shins and then kind of doing like a right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you basically are just picking it up and putting it back down.
Okay.
At like its very simplest form.
Yeah.
But it's cool because like it's a really fun way to celebrate our strength because we get to lift pretty heavy. Even if you're not super skilled at the deadlift, you can still lift somewhat heavy, which is just fun. Like you're like, oh my God, I lifted 100 pounds. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's not that unreasonable. And of course, like celebrating our drag community and all of the gender diversity that we have in our community feels really important. And so the fact that not only we have 6 drag performers, not
are
only
they
are
dressing,
they
they're going to be in
they're
drag.
in drag. Yeah.
Can you also dress up in drag and deadlift?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is meant to be a celebration
yeah.
of the community at its most authentic form. So like whatever that means for you.
Oh my gosh, I am coming to this.
You
is it ticket sales or what do you? How does it?
Yeah. So we have it. It's $5 to sign up. And really, you know, to be honest, we're just doing that because we know that if we charge some amount, people are just more likely to come and not just be like
probably more, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And so we don't want the $5 to be a barrier. So if you're listening and you want to come and that is a barrier, please just reach out and we will absolutely waive that for you. But it's $5 to come. We also have a spectator sign up. So if you just like want to come and you're like, oh, I don't want to lift, but I just want to be there, we're going to have pizza with vegan and gluten-free options. We're going to have some alcohol, some non-alcoholic drinks. We have a lot of great sponsors who give us a lot of this stuff that we're able to provide to the community now. So it should be a really good time. We have a DJ. They're going to do a set for the last hour of the party. So it should just be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And a little bit chaotic, but a lot of fun.
Yeah. You got to have chaotic. Well, I will be there for sure. I'll grab my husband and we will show up and support. I promise you.
I love it.
All right. Well, I saw that Out Wellness offers physical therapy, personal training, acupuncture, cupping and massage. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Anything else I'm missing?
And then just our group classes.
Yeah,
so
classes.
we do, we have Monday nights, we do walking club with local queer at Town Lake. Tuesday nights, we have queer and trans yoga. Wednesday nights is our community workout. And then Sunday mornings, we have our trans mask and trans femme workouts.
And that is always on the monthly, weekly calendar.
Weekly calendar,
That
yeah.
is
So those are all weekly.
So consistent and wow.
And even our monthly stuff, we try to keep consistent. Like our queer sex ed is always at 11:45 on the first Sunday of the month. And I mean, I just happen to love that workshop, so I know it off the top of my head. But even for the ones that run monthly, we try to keep it consistent in the timing so that people just kind of know what to expect.
I love that you always have something going on, consistency to, the things that, make sense for you and your community and the business, but also adding things to it that, spruce it up every so often.
Yeah, for sure.
I love acupuncture and I love cupping is the one that you come out like almost like octopus, like suck your back. Yeah, that works. I love it.
It's
Love
great.
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your pricing, I notice, is very reasonable.
Thank you.
I think it's awesome. Obviously it takes money to keep the lights on. So let's,
it
not
does.
as an entrepreneur and business owner, but I feel like you make it where it's reasonable for people to consider and take part in.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we really try. We really do. And we also work on a sliding scale. All of our practitioners have a certain amount of sliding scale options, a certain amount of sliding scale openings per month that we have.
Okay.
And
for somebody who's like, hey, I'm in this position where.
And we know that the health and wellness industry is just expensive. Like it really is. And so
it's so sad too. It's almost like what breaks my heart about like eating healthy with the groceries. It's like, unfortunately, you could eat for whatever on a dollar menu or whatever cheap food, but then to get what you need to live healthy and be healthy, it's expensive. So I hate that sometimes mirrors that.
Yeah, it just is. And we know that, and we're no stranger to that, but we really are passionate about trying to make it work for anybody who really wants to be in our space. And that's why we also have our gym membership option. It's $50 a month, and it gives you access to our gym whenever we're open. And then it also gives you access to anything else that we're doing at no additional cost.
Wow.
So
yeah, that was great.
Yeah. So for folks who just like want to be part of our community, but the one-on-one services just don't fit for whatever reason, we try to keep that option available for folks who, it's just a really low barrier to entry, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that I noticed about Out Wellness that I thought was so cool and didn't even think about this, which I'm excited to hear more about, is the gender-affirming rehab to those about to go under surgery or recovering from surgery.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's, I think it's really interesting because my background and what my residency and fellowship were in was sports orthopedics and manual therapy. So a lot of pre and post-op ACL surgery, shoulder surgeries, it kind of ran the gamut.
Right.
And in that world, this is not new. Like if you have a planned surgery, the orthopedic surgeon is sending you to PT for, it's called prehab. So like
Yeah.
Like it's very, very standard. And so then you come into this world, which is a lot of plastic surgeons and urologists, and they operate differently.
Yeah.
And so it's just really interesting because like our background, me and I have another physical therapist that I work with, Sienna. That's our background. And so we're like, this is really interesting. So we do a lot of this for top and bottom surgery. And
makes sense.
It really helps. The prehab helps a bunch with like how you recover. But then of course, like there are not severe complications, but there are things that people just don't know about, right? Like if you get top surgery and you can't raise your arm over your head for 6 weeks, people are like, oh my God, is everything okay? Right. Yeah. So it's just nice to have somebody who can be like, hey, this is totally normal. We see this all the time. And I'm actually right now trying to get a standardized set of physical therapy protocols published in a medical journal so that folks can go to any physical therapist and they can pull up this protocol and be like, okay, this is how we should treat this person for this surgery. So we're working. It's a big work in progress.
Sure.
We're trying to, my real goal is in this work lifetime that I have is that out wellness kind of becomes obsolete, or it becomes successful because we're just really good at what we do, but not because we're the only people that do it.
Right.
And so that's kind of the overall goal.
I love that. Well, keep doing it. Keep going. You definitely are going to make it happen. I see it.
Appreciate it.
And it just is something to me that was just like a light bulb moment. And now people know that they can have that additional support before and after.
Yeah.
I also saw that you have an ambassador program.
Yeah.
So tell us a little more about that.
Oh my God. We should have implemented it a long time ago. This was like one of my lesser business savvy moments. The person who helps us with marketing was like, why don't you have an ambassador program? This is insane.
Hey, you learn as you go.
Exactly.
As you go.
I was like, what's an ambassador? But we have people who do so much. I mean, in the month of June, we had like 20 tabling events and people were tabling. We had one person who tabled twice in the same day for us. Just like going out and doing all these things, and tabling is not the only thing. It's a lot of things, like anything handy that needs to happen at the gym, going out and like if they see somebody new at a workout, going and being their partner and making sure people feel welcome and safe. And so it's a bunch of things. And so it's just a way for us to quantify that and be like, hey, we see you doing this really good work. Can we give you some merch? Can we give you a free month at the gym? So we have a point system basically. And, they put in their points and then they can redeem points for
that is so cool and so clever. I've heard of ambassador programs, but the way you're doing it, I just was like, oh my gosh, this is like so fun. And it's like a way to volunteer and have to give back, but also be recognized for the work that you're doing and get something in return. It's an exchange of like energy, Yeah.
So. And it honestly feels good for me, to be honest, because like these people, I mean, I can't overstate how much they actually do. And so for me to be able to be like, here's a pair of sweatpants, like it feels silly, but at least like there's some exchange happening, right? Where I'm like, okay, like I guess this is fine now. And they are happy to do it and certainly didn't ask for the program. But I think, for that wellness team, it feels a lot better to be able to be like, okay, they're not just doing all this stuff for us, but there's a little bit of an exchange.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
You got to give to get.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
All right. So beyond your physical therapist and business owner world that you, I'm sure, live in always. What do you like to do on your days off?
Ooh, okay. Full disclosure, I don't have days off.
Okay.
I work all 7 of them, but I have 2 dogs who I love.
Your fur babies are your
my fur babies are So I love sitting on the couch with them. I watch a ton of reality TV.
Same.
I just finished. It's not reality, but I just
finished. Are you
finished
into Big Brother right now?
I'm not doing Big Brother.
Okay.
I've never gotten into Big Brother, actually.
What reality though?
All the Love ones.
All the Love Islands.
Okay. Yeah. All the Love Islands, the Love is Blinds, the Perfect Matches.
Got it.
Yeah,
I know exactly.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I just finished Hunting Wives.
My husband said nothing, but it was amazing.
Obsessed.
I didn't watch it.
I will say though, straight culture said that this was a queer show. And I just want to go on record and say it's not a queer show. There's queerness in it.
Yeah, that's what he told me.
But it's not like queer.
Got it.
The other one that
it's not like the L word or keep
right.
What's it called? The other one, queer as fuck.
Queer as fuck. Yeah. So, but obsessed. I mean, Brittany Snow was actually my second ever like celebrity crush. So like to watch her be queer, I'm like, oh my God.
Like, hi, I manifested this.
Literally, I'm like 15 years ago. It was me. So yeah, I like to do a lot of that when the weather is nicer, like picnicking outside at like Barton Springs, doing stuff like that, hanging out with friends and chosen family is really nice. But honestly, I'm a homebody. Okay. When I'm not working, you can find me at home.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing as I've gotten older. And yeah, I like enjoying time with my husband and my dogs and just kind of being quiet because I'm always doing the most. So I'm just like, it's just nice to kind of be still and kind of be in that space.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we're almost here at 5 minutes left. So I wanted to ask you before we ended this. Now, I get a sense that you're active in the LGBTQ plus legislation.
I am. Yes.
So can you just talk a little bit more about that and kind of, where we're at, where we're going, what we need to do?
Yeah. I will say I'm happy to talk about this. There are people that are much more informed and doing work much better than I am.
I am not.
I am just a queer small business owner that, stays in the loop, but certainly like Equality Texas, the ACLU, the Texas Freedom Network, and others
if you know somebody, have them come and introduce me so I can have them on the podcast.
I can definitely introduce you to some people.
Okay.
But I think this is kind of what we expected, the Texas Ledge. So during the regular Texas legislative session, there was a record number of anti-queer bills. Not a lot of them passed, but then they went into a special session, which is actually still happening right now. And they did the special session under the guise of the floods that were in Kerrville.
Yeah.
And I still think to this day, they haven't heard any bills about climate change at all. But they did hear the bathroom bill. And so the bathroom bill, for those who don't know, is that you have to use the bathroom of the sex that you were assigned at birth. Yeah. Which is dangerous for a lot of people for a lot of reasons.
Right.
And it passed, but the Texas Dems broke quorum and actually left the state.
Yep.
Because of the redistricting bill that was here. So we're actually in a little bit of a standstill in the special session right now because the bill can't go out of the Senate until the Texas Dems vote on it. So we're in a little bit of limbo right now, and I actually don't really know any more than that about the bathroom bill. But I think generally the point is that there's a lot of fear mongering and there's a lot of shifting blame to other places so that we don't have to look at the real issues. And we know that trans women in sports are not a threat to women. And we know that trans masks in the men's restroom, or I guess trans women in women's restrooms, are not a threat to women. And, like trying to shift the blame to trans women or trans femmes, it's just under the guise of protecting women while people who are pregnant are dying every day because they don't have access to the healthcare that they need. Right. So, we're just trying to shift the blame, and there's a lot of fear mongering going on. So this is the second legislative session that Out Wellness has been around for, and it's gotten worse. But, we have advocates in our community, like the ones I just mentioned. Bridget Bandit is a huge advocate as well. She's a drag performer and just really involved all around. And so we have people on the front lines doing this work, but I think it's really important that we're all informed, right? And I think, especially for folks who are like cis and gay, I think it can be really different, because they're like, well, this bathroom bill doesn't affect me or whatever. But we have to remember that there's an intersection everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that, like our Black and brown chosen family are under attack as well right now, just because they're Black and brown. Mm-hmm. But like trans women of color, for example, are just, I mean, I don't know if you heard about what happened at Barton Springs the other week.
No.
But a trans woman was like brutally attacked because she turned down the advances of a cis man, and he like
got angry about it and wanted it to happen. And
so like we're just entering this time where people are feeling validated in like physically harming trans people just because they're trying to exist. And that mindset can be very damaging, not only of course to the trans community, but then like that there's a trickle down effect. Yeah, I was going to say
the dominoes fall from there.
And so, we're trying to keep our whole community safe, but the trans community and the trans community of color specifically are the most marginalized of our community. It just keeps going. And we have to protect it.
You have to protect it. It's always so much bigger than what that is, although that is hugely important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we just feel really strongly about protecting the most marginalized of our community.
Absolutely.
And right now it's our trans people of color. But like for the cis queer folks, it's important to be involved and stay involved and to at least know what's going on. Yeah. And I know this is a really like brief version of that, but there are a lot of resources who are doing a lot of really good work around it.
Yeah, I need to have someone come on and specifically speak to that because, again, they think, oh, we're gay, we're all connected to know this knowledge and stuff. And I think it's just it's so important more than ever now to kind of have that understanding of where we're at and where we're going, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Well, to wrap this up here, I like to end with a yes queen and your girl bye.
Okay.
So do you have what's going on in your life that you would love to give your yes queen to and your girl bye?
Yeah, my yes queen, I get to talk to a lot of people. And I love talking to people about what they're passionate about. Like I love learning from them or just hearing them talk about these things that they're passionate about. It like gives me so much joy. So I think my yes queen is generally like people talking to me about what they want to talk to me about and just
their
like
energy's so electric.
It's so good. Yeah. And it like makes me smile even just thinking about it. I love it. My girl bye was going to be the Texas Ledge or like the anti-trans legislation generally. But since we just talked about that, another girl bye, I'm watching one of my parents' dogs right now, and he pees in our house. And so
you're over it.
I am going to say, girl, bye.
Potty outside.
Correct.
Go potty outside.
You're 6 years old. You should be able to do it.
We just had a potty outside situation over the weekend, and so I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Well, before we end this lovely podcast, let everyone know about your business, spotlight your business, just in case I missed anything.
Cool. Yeah, we're Out Wellness. We're we're at 211 East Alpine Road. We are a queer and trans health and wellness center dedicated to creating a safe space for queer and trans folks to access services that might otherwise feel or be inaccessible. We are completely queer and trans led and owned. And we really want to serve this community. You can find us on Instagram at OutWellnessATX or OutWellnessATX.com. You can text or call us at the phone number that's listed there. Or like just show up to one of our events. We would love to see you. Our weekly trans masc and trans femme workouts are completely donation based. So there's no cost. And I said yesterday, I was like, this is the best part of my week. So Sunday mornings are awesome. But come check it out. We would really love to see you.
Yeah. And what's your hours of operation?
Oh, all of them. We're open 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Wow. Yeah. And every day.
Yeah. Every day. So don't ask me what I'm doing later.
Wow. Well, this has been incredible. Yeah. It's been super inspiring. Yeah. I love meeting people doing cool shit. And you're one of them here in Austin. So again, thanks for making me smile and wanting to be on this podcast. And thanks for what you're doing for our community here in Austin. It definitely has that ripple effect. And I just see it. I envision all the great things that you're doing now and the things that you'll be doing in the future. Everything is paying itself forward. So keep doing that awesome work.
I appreciate it.
And sharing your story.
Yeah.
It's truly, truly incredible. So
thank you.
I do believe that. And I will be there on Saturday.
Yes.
And if there's any way that I can also figure out a way to contribute to the community, I will, do that as well.
Perfect.
But that's it, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for listening. And do not forget to keep Austin queered.